And welcome into another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined tonight by the original cast of Misfits, Dan O'Shea, Tony Casper. Gents, how you doing?
Wonderful. Doing it up, doing it in.
Yep, that is great to hear. Man, we've got the NFL draft coming up 1 week from tomorrow night is the first round. The first round of the 2022 NFL draft. And this is one of the... I'm going to disagree with a lot of experts here. This is one of the worst drafts, top to bottom, that I've ever seen. All right? We're getting people now saying, oh, it's actually pretty deep. After the combine, Malik Willis is looking like a very good first-round quarterback after all. So he looks good against nobody, and we're just going to disregard what he did against players? Like, that's why the combine, I think, is one of the dumbest things.
Well, here's the thing. If you keep looking at a pile of crap long enough, you're going to start seeing parts of it that are like, you know what, that's not so bad.
There are, in my opinion, maybe 10 players in this draft that I think are truly first-round draft pick worthy, especially looking at last year with COVID. A lot of players left early. Guys like Micah Parsons, Penei Sewell, they sat out, entered the draft early, and a lot more did that because of COVID, which means that this draft class, in my opinion, is going to suffer because guys like Micah Parsons would have been in this draft class. Guys like Jamar Chase would have been in this draft class. So, looking at that, I'm struggling to find, like I said, more than 10 players that I think are worth a first-round draft pick in this class. Obviously, you've got Evan Neal, who is a monster. You've got Kayvon Thibodeau. You've got Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, who I'm probably going to steal your thunder, Tony, but if the Giants don't draft Kyle Hamilton, then they failed.
He's on a very short list. It's definitely a need, so I'm not going to give anything away. But yeah, he's quality.
Yeah, in my opinion, he's the best. Honestly, the Giants, I'm going to do your job for you, should draft Sauce and Kyle Hamilton. That right there is what they should do. But
secondary picks.
Yeah, but
I mean, in reality, it very well could be with those two moves. Considering the loss of Bradbury, it's gonna have to be addressed. I mean, I know that there's going to be a temptation to go rusher, and they got to do something for the offensive line because, we can't just keep staring at it, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Keep going down your list of your 10. I want to hear how this plays out.
Oh, so the 10 players that I think are draft-worthy. Hold on, let me pull up the list. But there are so many that I really, even ones that are going to be drafted ahead of the 10 that I list, I really just don't understand.
They're going to be drafted out of need, not necessarily skill?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, 100%. So the 10 that I think are worth drafting, Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. I got that for you, Tony, no M's. Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Ikem Ekwonu, Evan Neal, Kayvon Thibodeau, Kyle Hamilton, Jameson Williams. Then we get to Garrett Wilson. Okay, I'm sorry. There's 12. Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, and Tyler Linbaum. Those are the ones that I think are going to be absolute smashes. Guys like Nakobe Dean, he'll probably be good, but if this were a different year, I don't think he's a first-round draft pick. And if he is, he's certainly not going to be in the top 20. Let's see, Sky Moore, I just don't understand him. Zion Johnson, Tyler Smith, Travis Jones, George Pickens, Malik Willis, I'm just now going through a list of the 32. Jermaine Johnson, Jalen Petre. There are very few names on here that I sit back and I think these players would be drafted in the first round in 2021 or in 2023. It's 2022. We've lost a lot of talent, and there's a strong sophomore class in college this year. They're in an in-between position. It's weird,
you know what?
But that's where we're at.
I think that a lot of the chaos we're seeing this year in players moving around is because of that. Because of what you're saying. Like, the analysis obviously want to hype it up because they don't want nobody not watching the draft, and they might make it sound like it's better than it really is. But in the same fact, like, NFL GMs clearly are doing so many moves around free agency and trading and stuff like that, that it seems like they obviously know, listen, we're not getting what we need to get in the draft. Like, it's going to be highly unlikely unless you're one of the top 16 teams drafting that need something and are willing to trade up. You're probably not getting it, and you're going to take a lot of chances on people who either are going to be role players or you're trying to do a dart throw and hope it hits a good number.
Yeah, like I said, there are going to be players, obviously, that are drafted later that are going to be just absolute steals. A couple players coming to mind. John Mechie, the wide receiver from Alabama. If it wasn't coming off of a huge injury that's going to affect his speed, he would be, I'd say, one of the 10 to 12 that are worth drafting. Yeah,
but this is not a good year for names. You're gonna see a lot of role players, and you know what? You're gonna see a lot of guys. You're gonna find out maybe later down the line. You're definitely gonna find out the guys that have the work ethic and are able to compete at the NFL level being drafted probably in later rounds versus guys that were selected higher just because there just wasn't a lot of talent at the top.
Yeah. It's going into like the 60s. There are, Trey McBride, quality tight end. He could probably be someone that sneaks up, plays well. Nick Cross from Maryland, the safety. He's someone that I could see, being one of those shining diamonds in the piles of shit that is this draft. So there are options out there. But just as a whole, I'm just not impressed with this draft. Like, the quarterbacks are terrible. Malik Willis, Matt Corral, Carson Strong, Desmond Ridder. It's a bad draft for quarterbacks, and there are a lot of quarterback-needy teams.
You could have told me that those were actors, and I'd believe you.
Look at guys like, Davis Mills and like where he went last year, and he'd be right up
the
there.
First quarterback off the board.
Yeah.
He'd be the first quarterback off the board.
The one area I think this draft is decent is wide out. I think there's no Jamar Chase or anything like that in this.
I disagree with that.
Wide receiver class, but I think there is some decent depth, and a couple of teams will hit on guys in the second round. Beyond the second round, though, yeah, this draft gets super, super dicey after that, and most of these guys don't seem like they're much above what you'll be able to find in an undrafted free agent.
The best quality positions in this draft are wide receiver and corner. Those are the two deep, in my opinion. Some people are going to say offensive line. I disagree. I don't think there's...
There's actually a lot of tight ends in this draft as well.
Yeah.
But they're not... I don't know that you could call them quality, but I feel like they could be serviceable to a lot of teams because in the NFL, there are tight ends that are like... I mean, we're talking about, Evan Ingram's a great tight end. No, he's not.
Evan Ingram...
No, this league is lacking for great tight ends.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, that's probably true.
Honestly, I'm going to say something, and Tony, I'm not trying to stroke your ego or anything. I do think there's a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase in this draft, and his name is Garrett Wilson. He's so fucking good. Garrett
Wilson is very good. So is Chris Olave. You have to understand the maturity of Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson are the two things that are the selling features as far as them, because they both chose to come back for their fourth year. and they're just so talented. All they do is get open.
Olave, to me, is nowhere near as good as Wilson, and Olave is still the second or third best wide receiver in the draft. I think Garrett Wilson is head and shoulders above everybody else. He's fast, he's big, he's strong, he'll run through you, he'll run around you, he'll go over you, and he's the only wide receiver in the draft that I could see playing a similar role to DeAndre Hopkins, the guy who's going to either get you that jump ball touchdown or he's going to go through you to get the touchdown.
Yeah, and the other thing that both of them have is that the one thing I loved about our class last year is the fact that they were great route runners. So, I mean, they're just whatever Brian Hartline is doing down there with those guys, because Smith and Jigma still, I mean, he's still so young and has so much talent. Whatever Brian Hartline's doing at that team, Brian Hartline should be a wide receiver coach for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah. He's doing a really good job, and they're just churning out talent after talent from
Miguel Cabrera is one hit closer to the 3,000 club. He just hit 2,998.
Nice. Good for him. Anyways, yeah, I think Chris Olave is a very good wide receiver, but I think Garrett Wilson is just a fucking freak, is the only way I can put it.
He's a very talented wide receiver.
He's so good. Anyways, let's we'll talk more about the draft when we do a mock draft next week. We're going to do the first round. But tonight we're just basically here to talk about our favorite teams and who we think they should draft. And obviously, we're going to have to make it realistic, because if I think the Cowboys need an offensive lineman, there's no way they're getting Evan Neal without moving up.
Yeah.
All right, so let's try and keep it a little realistic, which for you two shouldn't be too hard because you're picking twice in the top 10. Cowboys have to wait until pick 24. Yeah, so let's see. Who wants to go first?
I can, since the Jets are up
You're
first.
picking before all of us?
Yeah.
Congratulations again, I guess?
Yeah, Jets obviously have a lot of needs, and there's some top-end talent here. It's really going to depend who the first three picks are, as to who the Jets go with. Obviously, if Hutchinson for some reason falls, we would, of course, take him. If he's gone, then there's still Trayvon Walker and Kayvon Thibodeau. Obviously, I love Thibodeau.
Dude, Thibodeau's had a fall from grace. For most of the year, he was the number one overall pick.
Pump the brakes on this. I still believe in Thibodeau. His injury really dropped people's consideration from him, but let's not take away from the talent that man was. Oregon could have been a completely different team if he was healthy the whole year.
Yeah. And it seems that fall from grace was overstated, and I think it was mostly smokescreen season, because now apparently he's locked to the Lions at number 2, according to Vegas, which is frustrating. If neither of those three DEs are available, then I think the Jets probably go with a guy like Cam Ekwonu. Not our biggest need anymore, offensive line, but a ton of talent there. Or Evan Neal, either or. Ekwonu probably fits us a little bit better, but I think they're both very talented offensive linemen, and top O-lines tend to do good things for the rest of the offense. There's also, our secondary is in need of help, so there's also some consideration of Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley. But I would think they would do that if they were going to do one of those guys, I think they would do that at 10. Same thing with Kyle Hamilton. We also need